me tell you, the first songwriting gig I got after getting out of school. I'm going to talk about how I got it, what it was like, what the parameters were, the financial side of it, and then finally the big moral of the story lesson that I learned from the whole experience. So my first writing job was for a project called God's Wacky Animals, okay? So this was put out back in the 90s, back when it was kind of a new trend for these rock bands to kind of do remakes of TV show theme songs, and they were releasing them. It was the 90s grunge rock and stuff like that. So this company wanted to have a project that was produced in that sort of vibe, but they wanted the songs to go with footage of animals with a biblical principle in it, aimed at an audience of 2 to 6 years old. So those were some of the parameters. Now, the way that I got the gig was it was based on an older relationship with someone that I had worked with professionally. I was like just an assistant. I wasn't a musician to this person. In the earlier years, it was while I was getting my undergrad degree, but then I went off to Miami, got my master's degree, came back to Nashville, and this was within the first year of me coming back to town. This old professional contact was producing this project and invited me to come in and be one of the songwriters, because this person was aware that I had gotten my master's degree and that I was pursuing this kind of work. So we showed up. There were 5 of us songwriters that were meeting for this one meeting. We basically all sat around a table, and they basically divvied up the animals to the writers. So I got bears. So my job, and they even, for me specifically, they said, we have footage of a bear being clumsy and like starting to climb up a tree, and then it falls off. So you need to write a song that an alt-rock band can record, appropriate for 2 to 6 year olds, that has a spiritual message that goes along with footage of clumsy bears. And those are the parameters that I had to write within. I ended up writing a song called Bumble, Stumble, Fumble. The hook was, even when I bumble, stumble, fumble, God won't let me tumble. Even when I teeter or I totter, he won't let me fall. When I need a little grace and I land right on my face, he's always there to love me. Oh, bumble, stumble, teeter, totter, tumble, fumble, he loves me. And the cool part is, I don't know how this happened, but maybe 10 years ago, somebody reached out to me, because that was back in 1995. Maybe 10 years ago, somebody reached out and let me know that they had done a translation of that song into maybe German or Dutch, might have been Dutch. They sent me the translation of my lyric, and it was something like Wiebel, Wankel, Schmonkel, or something like that. I don't know, but I got royalties. Anyway, backing up though, back to 1995. So the project got released, and it just so happened that I got to be the one to sing my own song. They did it over like a shuffle kind of a beat, and they released the project. And then I got my first royalty check for $400, which, getting out of grad school, doing temp work at the time, because it was, I hadn't started teaching yet. That was a big deal for me. So then they had volume 2. And this is where I learned my lesson. Volume 2, they were going to do another volume. And the guy who hired me asked me, do you want more money up front, or do you want more back end? And at the time, I had not yet learned that it's better to get the money up front, because what happened was I opted for more back end, so I didn't get any money up front, and I wrote songs for volume 2, but then it got shelved and I didn't get any money. And if I had just said, I'll take the money now, thank you very much, I would have gotten the money and they would have shelved it, but I still would have gotten my money. But as it was, I wrote these songs and never made a dime. So that was my first. I don't even know if this is even available anymore. I don't even know. I should look and see if it's gone through the digital pipeline. I don't even have a CD player to play this, or I would play you a little bit of it. But anyway, that was my first writing job out of school. That just shows you the kooky stuff, the parameters, and you just never know what you're going to end up doing with your skills.